Welcome to today's Explainer. Right out of the gate today, we're unpacking something incredibly powerful. We are going to build a custom Knowledge AI chatbot directly inside Google Colab using your own documents and literally just plain English prompts. Forget that old idea that you need months of programming boot camps or a massive budget to build functional AI. By tapping into modern large language models, we can take a static, boring document and transform it into an interactive, highly intelligent assistant in just a matter of minutes. If you have an idea and you can describe what you want, you already have exactly what it takes. To really grasp why this is such a game changer, let's visualize the end goal. Imagine you have this massive, dense PDF filled with specialized knowledge, say an event sponsorship packet. Now, if someone asks a highly specific question like, what is GDSC, a standard off-the-shelf AI might just guess, hallucinate, or give you a super generic answer. But the custom chatbot we're dissecting today will instantly scan your specific uploaded document and accurately reply that it stands for Google Developer Student Clubs. It pulls the exact context right from your file. We're basically building an AI that knows exactly what you know. So, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding this massive shift in how software is actually built now. Historically, traditional chatbot development meant grinding through complex languages like Python or JavaScript, enduring these painfully long development cycles, and footing the bill for high developer costs. But today, we are in the middle of a paradigm shift called vibe coding. You're no longer writing the complex syntax, you're acting as the director. You just use plain English prompts to tell these powerful AI tools exactly what to build. It takes minutes, and it is beautifully accessible to literally anyone, technical background or not. Okay, let's dive into this. We'll be moving through a clear four-step process today. Setting up Google Colab, the core chatbot build, adding memory and personality, and finally, testing the AI chatbot. Step 1. Setting up Google Colab. Think of Google Colab as your friendly, cloud-based sandbox. It's an environment where code runs right in your web browser, which is amazing because it means you don't need to install any complicated software on your own computer to get started. For this build, you really just need a few basic ingredients. First, your Colab workspace, then an OpenAI API key and a SERP API key. Think of these API keys as a simple, secure handshake between your little notebook sandbox and the massive, powerful language models living out on the web. And finally, the whole shebang relies on your custom data, the actual PDF document you want your chatbot to master. Now, if you're looking at a notebook environment for the first time, seeing those blocks of code can feel, well, a little intimidating. But I really want to emphasize a direct quote from our sources here. You don't have to worry about all the code. You just have to run the cells. Seriously, as the learner here, your job is not to build the back-end architecture from scratch. Your job is simply to execute the pre-written code blocks, step by step, just by clicking the run button. The heavy lifting, it's already done for you. Step 2. The core chatbot build. This is the exact moment where your static, lifeless data meets the dynamic brain of the AI. The build follows a really logical four-step progression inside the notebook. First, we just upload our raw PDF document right into Colab. Second, the system splits that massive wall of text into smaller, bite-sized chunks. Third, it generates what are called embeddings. And all that means is it's translating your text into a mathematical language the AI can actually understand. Finally, step 4, we initialize a retrieval chain that basically connects the AI's brain directly to those specific mathematical concepts we just created. Actually, let's pause and clarify that second step for a second, because chunking is a vital concept in AI data prep. In the Colab notebook we're looking at, they use a specific tool called a recursive character text splitter. What this does is take your full multi-page document and slices it into sequential pieces, specifically about 800 character passages with a tiny bit of overlap. Why do we do this? Well, if you ask a question, you don't want the AI rereading the entire 500-page book every single time. You want it to quickly find the one specific 800-character paragraph that holds the exact pinpoint answer. And that brings us to RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. I know it sounds like crazy complex jargon, but the concept is beautifully simple. Think back to high school physics, right? Remember when your teacher allowed an open book test and let you bring in just a single index card of formulas? RAG is exactly that. When you ask the chatbot a question, this system retrieves the most relevant 800-character chunks from your PDF, essentially sneaks them on an index card, and hands it to the AI right before it generates its answer. This is how we force the AI to rely on your facts, which prevents it from just making things up. Step 3, adding memory and personality. Right, so now that the bot has access to your specific facts, we have to teach it how to behave.
This is the phase where natural language prompting truly shines, and honestly, where your new role as a vibe coder becomes a lot of fun. To get a high-quality chatbot, you can't just say, hey, answer questions. You need to structure a system prompt using 4 essential pillars. First, identity and role. Who is it pretending to be? Second, scope and limitations. Tell it exactly what it is not allowed to talk about. Third, responsibilities and safety. Give it some strict guardrails. And fourth, response style. Should it be formal, super casual, maybe encouraging?
Here is an exact prompt example pulled directly from our source material on building course-specific chatbots. It reads, "You are an AI chatbot for a college course. Your role is similar to a teaching assistant or tutor." Notice how conversational and straightforward that is? You are quite literally just talking to the machine in plain English, giving it a clear job description, and that simple instruction dictates everything about how the bot interacts with your users.
But a true conversation isn't just one question and one answer. That's why we utilize LangChain's conversational capabilities inside the notebook. This gives the chatbot memory. It maintains a session history. So every time you ask a follow-up question, the bot remembers what you were just talking about. It passes those previous interactions right back in as context. This turns isolated, kind of robotic queries into a natural, flowing human dialogue, which completely saves you the frustration of having to constantly repeat yourself.
Step 4, testing the AI chatbot. Okay, once we have the data loaded and the personality locked in, it's time to test our live creation. When testing, you really want to push the boundaries of both its knowledge and its memory. You wouldn't just type hello. You'd ask a context-heavy question like, can you summarize the second chapter of the uploaded document? If the bot successfully outlines that specific chapter, and then you follow up with, hey, can you explain the third point in more detail? And it seamlessly understands what you mean without you having to re-explain yourself, well, you have absolute proof that your RAG system and your conversational memory are working perfectly. As we wrap up the technical walkthrough, I really want you to consider the effort breakdown here. Today, only about 15% of the work is set up, and maybe 25% is actually executing those code cells. A massive 60% of the effort is purely natural language prompting. The core takeaway? The barrier to entry has completely evaporated. The vast majority of the effort in modern AI building is simply communicating your intent clearly in plain English. As one of our sources notes, enterprise knowledge management is changing forever. You no longer need a fancy, complicated filing system or a whole team of engineers just to navigate your own data. Your course notes, your company policies, your personal journals, they can all be instantly transformed into interactive, intelligent assistants. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that the immense power of code can be unlocked with everyday language, what custom assistant will you build with your own data? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.